Wait, mag-share screen muna ako. Game na? So, good morning, guys. We are Group 6, and our topic for today is hydrometeorological hazard. So, typhoon.
Typhoon. Hi, I am Jason Craig, the reporter for Typhoon. Um, Next, what is a typhoon? A typhoon is a severe weather disturbance characterized by strong winds and heavy rains, which revolve around the central low pressure area. Next, next, next. The word typhoon is most likely derived from the Chinese term typhoon, ta which means big and pung means wind, and known locally as bagyo, a term coined after Baguio City in Benguet Province, where the wettest known tropical cyclone way back in 1911 hit and dropped approximately 2,200 millimeters of rain for about 3 days. Next. Types of typhoon. A typhoon is just one of the three types of tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones can be distinguished by their maximum sustained wind speed over 10-minute periods. Types of tropical cyclone. Number one, tropical depression, wind speed up to 62 km per hour. Number two, tropical storm, wind speed up to 63 to 118 km per hour. Number three, typhoon, wind speed greater than 118 km per hour. Number four, super typhoon, with wind speed exceeding 220 km per hour. Now, next, seasonal variability of tropical cyclone activity. In the Philippines, tropical cyclone activity is usually lowest in May and increases gradually throughout June. Activity then greatly increases from July until September, with the level of activity reaching its peak in August. Activity level eventually dies up in November, though the strongest typhoon in the Philippine history struck in November 2013, Typhoon Haiyan, or known locally as Yolanda. Next, tropical cyclone structure. A tropical cyclone on average has a total diameter of 550 kilometers but can be more than 2,000 kilometers wide. Its basic structure consists of an eye wall, and a surrounding rain bands. Next, why next? Why do tropical cyclones form? Tropical cyclones form as a result of atmosphere's natural tendency to maintain equilibrium by redistributing heat through winds from the equatorial regions to the polar regions. This mechanism prevents the tropical areas from becoming too hot and polar regions from becoming too cold. Next, importance of tropical cyclone. It's not for the tropical cyclones there would be severe environmental imbalances. Rainfall brought about by tropical cyclones replenishes groundwater and superficial water. Flora and fauna in the Philippines are heavily reliant on tropical cyclones as a source of water. How do tropical cyclones form? Tropical cyclones form both in the northern and southern hemisphere at latitudes 5 degrees to 30 degrees away from the equator. In parts of the open ocean where water temperatures reach at least 26 degrees to depths of more than 60 meters toward the end of summer, when temperature difference between air at high altitude and the ocean surface is greatest. Next. Next. Effects of tropical cyclones. The effects of tropical cyclones are worse along coastal areas where they where they make where they first make landfall. Tropical cyclones bring them very strong winds, heavy rains, and can cause flooding and storm surges. Mesh- Next, measures for mitigating the destructive effects of typhoon. Number one, determining the areas prone to typhoon-related disasters like landslide and flooding. Number two, implementing legislation involving the land use planning, zoning, and building standards. Number three, weather forecasting and monitoring. Next, Pag-asa plays a very important role in operating a nationwide network for forecasting and observing tropical cyclones that could enter or affect the PAR or Philippine Area of Responsibility. Next, Pag-asa is the country's official weather bureau. It monitors storm typhoons and other weather disturbances in the country. Pag-asa releases tropical cyclone warnings in the form of public storm warning signals. Current storm warning signals are wa- P- PSWS1, tropical cyclone winds of 30 to 60 km per hour are expected within the next 36 hours. The winds are expected to cause zero to minimal damage. PSWS number 2, tropical cyclone winds of 61 to 120 km per hour are expected within the next 24 hours. Light to moderate damage. PSWS number 3, tropical cyclone winds of 121 to 170 km per hour are expected within the next 18 hours, moderate to heavy damage. PSWS number 4, tropical winds of 171 to 220 km per hour are expected within the next 12 hours, heavy to very heavy damage. PSWS 5, tropical cyclone winds of more than 220 km per hour are expected within within the 12 hours. Very heavy damage to widespread damage. That's all for typhoon.
Ivan.
So, so for the next topic, I'm going to discuss about the storm surge. So, next, storm surge is an unusual localized increase in sea water level beyond the predicted astronomical tide level. A storm surge is a rise in sea level that occurs during tropical cyclones, intense storms, also known as typhoons or hurricanes. The storm produces the strong winds that pushes the water into shore, which can lead to flooding. This makes storm surge very dangerous for coastal regions. Ang storm surge ay ang pagtaas ng water level ng hindi inaasahan dulot ng isang tropical cyclone. The primary reason to it is the intense wind and reduced atmospheric pressure during the passage of an intense tropical cyclone from sea to land. May cases din na ang storm surge ay nag-occur from land to water pero ito ay mahina kaysa sa storm surge na nanggaling sa dagat papunta sa kalupaan. So, ang Pilipinas ang highly prone sa mga storm surge dahil sa location nito. Malapit ito sa equator sa Pacific region at dahil sa intensive length of coastline. Ang storm surge are similar mistaken to tsunami and tidal waves. Tsunami is a succession of water waves formed in the sea or ocean when an immense volume of water is displaced possibly due to earthquake, volcanic eruption, mass wasting events, meteorite impact, underwater explosion, or any other onshore and offshore disturbances strong enough to displace a great volume of water towards land. and the tidal wave is formed due to the unbalanced gravitational influence of celestial bodies like moon, sun, and other planets. Next, so the factors that influences the build up of water level during a storm surge. Number one is storm intensity. Storm intensity is also called wind speed. Storm surge is mainly wind driven. Storm intensity, which is related to the wind of a storm, influences the amount of surge produced. The stronger the wind associated with the tropical cyclone, the higher the storm surge will form. Number two, sa, sa kalagitnaan ng isang tropical cyclone, ang atmospheric pressure ay nakaka-apekto sa pag-form ng storm surge. Number two is pressure effect. In an open sea or ocean, the atmospheric pressure is the force exerted on the surface of the water with the weight of air in the Earth's atmosphere. The pressure is lower towards the center of or the eye of the tropical cyclone and higher fringes. The water, as a result, is pushed down on the fringe and bulge at the center, the eye of the tropical cyclone. So number three that influences the buildup of a storm surge is the size. The size of tropical cyclone influences the duration, the amount of water dumped over this area. Also, with a larger area coverage, it becomes more difficult for the accumulated water of the surge to escape it on its sides. Number four is storm forward speed. Storm forward speed, ang bilis ng isang tropical cyclone, ay nakaka-impluwensya din ito sa pagbuo ng isang storm surge. Ang mas mabilis na pag-travel ng isang tropical cyclone ay kayang-kayang magdulot ng higher surge sa isang open coast. Sa kabilang banda, ang mabagal na tropical cyclone ay nakakadulot ng mataas at malawakang storm surge sa isang enclosed body of water. Number five is angle of approach. Angle of approach, the amount of surge formed is affected by the angle at which the tropical cyclone hits the coastline. When a tropical cyclone hits the coast perpendicular, as opposed to an approach which is parallel or oblique, will more likely form a higher storm surge because a larger part of the storm surge mounds come out into contact with the coastline and is allowed to build up more. Number six is the effect of the Earth. Effect of the Earth's rotation. There are tendencies for ocean current to deflect as a result of Earth's rotation. It is called Coriolis effect. In the northern hemisphere, currents are bent to the right, while in the south hemisphere, currents are bent to the left. Consequently, when a tropical cyclone forms in the northern hemisphere, the surge will be observed to be the largest in the right forward portion or northeast quadrant of the tropical cyclone. When a tropical cyclone forms in the southern hemisphere, the surge will be observed at the largest in left forward portion in northwest quadrant of a tropical cyclone. So, number seven is rainfall effect. Ang rainfall effect ay ang mabilis na pagtaas ng tubig ng mga ng pambilis na pagtaas ng tubig sa mga estuaries dahil sa rainwater na naipon sa mga watershed at sa mga matataas na lugar. Number 9, geometry of coastal areas. The height of the storm surge will reaches the shore The height of the storm surge, which reaches the